существует, только победа сегодня устроит команду Giovanni Строппы, то первой в истории командой в серии Б станет Cremonese, который в 2 подряд финалах плей-офф проиграл. Тут еще не оканчивается на этом сезон. Там борьба за выживание продолжается, и всеми правдами и неправдами пытаются спасти генуэзцев. Дженуа, которая просто провалилась и ухнула в серию С, но еще есть шансы у них, в общем-то, каким-то образом выжить в итальянской серии Б, но об этом все позже. Сейчас все внимание на этот задымленный газон стадиона Альберто Пико. 10 тысяч зрителей вмещает, но сегодня, конечно, не спит вся Специя, и вокруг стадиона тоже полно народу. Не всем достались, конечно же, билеты, но второй по величине город на Лигурийском побережье стоит на ушах. Ну и, естественно, очень классная атмосфера на трибунах. Вот этот портовый кран, возвышающийся за одной из трибун стадиона, в общем-то, говорит нам о том, что, конечно, на итальянской ривьерой, но город Специя немножко в стороне от туристических троп находится, но сейчас гимн Италии. Всегда проникновенно звучит итальянский гимн. И, конечно, как поют футболисты итальянские главную музыку своей страны, конечно, особое зрелище. Это всегда повод включить итальянский футбол, и особенно когда играет сборная Италии, сквадра Адзура. Ну а пока все мечты, конечно, этих футболистов о том, чтобы оказаться в итальянской серии А. Добро пожаловать на Лигурийское побережье, город Ла Специя. Никакого отношения, собственно, к приправам город не имеет. Ученые так до сих пор и не пришли к единому выводу, почему же город так назван. Но вот такой вот симпатичный городок, в котором проживает 95 тысяч жителей, но это такое совершенно рабочее место. Здесь нет каких-то туристических ярких достопримечательностей, и несмотря на то, что это ривьера итальянская, но тем не менее как-то в стороне Ла Специя от туристических троп остается, но не в стороне от большущего футбола, который сегодня, конечно же, играется на Альберто Пико. Ну и Cremonese, футболисты делают из Ломбардии фотографию на память, а это игроки Специи. S.Esposito, как-то тот, что Сальваторе, долго выбирал себе место на снимке памятном, ну и, наконец, его нашел. В прошлом сезоне Cremonese также добрались до финала итальянской серии Б, до плей-офф, сыграли 0-0 с Венецией и дальше проиграли. Венеция оказалась в итальянской серии А. Ну а Кремонезе еще на год продлил себе жизнь в серии Б. И пока в таком в истории итальянского футбола не случалось, чтобы дважды подряд в финале игравшая команда проигрывала оба этих финала. И вот Кремонезе может стать первым таким коллективом. Сегодня для Специи все расклады на руку. Специя оказалась выше по итогам регулярки в чемпионате. На третьем месте команда закончила чемпионат. Кремонезе стал четвертым, но отстав на 5 очков от своего сегодняшнего соперника. И, собственно говоря, если было бы равное количество набранных баллов, то здесь, возможно, мы увидели бы по истечении 180 минут, если была бы ничья и сегодня, то дополнительное время и серию пенальти. Но здесь таких раскладов практически не существует. Да? Нужно Кремонезе только побеждать. Ничья не устроит кремонцев. И такая машинка на радиоуправлении доставляет мяч в центральный круг, где Джузеппе Ди Серио, один из двух форвардов Специи, устанавливает мяч в центральном круге. Андре Коломбо показывает, что все в порядке, все отлично, и ждем отличный футбол. Вы на телеканале «Футбол». Меня зовут Стас Редикульцев. Специя-Кремонезе на газоне. 26 градусов тепла, но будет потихоньку снижаться температура. Все-таки вечереет на Лигурийском побережье. Ну, темнеет, как известно, на море всегда рано. И прохлада от рядом расположенной бухты, одной из крупнейших в Италии, один из крупнейших коммерческих и военных итальянских портов. Собственно, здесь матч и играется. Ну, естественно, сегодня болельщики забили до отказа стадион. Свободных мест нет, свободных билетов нет. И любые деньги, конечно же...
regular season and coming into the playoffs, third and fourth respectively, both overcoming their rivals in the semi-finals. Spezia getting the better of Catanzaro, winning both of those legs, and Cremonese able to overturn an initial deficit against Juve Stabia with a stunning 3-0 win at the Zini. No goals yet in this final. Very tight affair on Thursday night. Cremonese with the better opportunities. The most presentable one dropping to Dennis Jonsson in the second half as Spezia look to make a lively start here. And corner one. Francesco P.Esposito whipping up the fans ever more behind the goal, looking to make an early impact. Spezia slightly more passive than Cremonese in the first leg, getting their result that they were after that draw, putting them in prime position here at the Peacock. Able to call upon the services of Salvatore Esposito once more from the off, and he will take the set piece. Hooked away by Yadi van der Put, part of that revamped midfield three for Cremonese. They've had real injury issues at the back with Grigio Rossi in recent weeks. Antov, Bianchetti and Ravanelli also coming to of injuries, having to be patched up along the way, but only Ceccarini and Foligno fit for tonight's game, forcing Stroppa's hand somewhat to a four-man defence with Azzi and Barbieri set to drop a little bit deeper. Vazquez keeping his position in the starting 11, now 3 games on the spin for the veteran Argentine. He and Jonsson behind target man Manuel De Luca. Put one of the creative hubs for Cremonese. They'll be looking to their tricky Belgian to try and unlock the door. Something Cremonese couldn't achieve at home. Spezia keeping the door shut. P.Esposito had been a slight injury doubt coming into this second leg, took a blow to the knee at the Zini, as you can see from the strapping on that right leg. What a season that young attacker has had. 18 goals and counting from his younger brother. Salvatore sprays it to the right. Elia into the mix. Salvatore Elia again preferred to Luca Vignali down the right. Change at the back from Spezia, Mateju alongside Hristov and Wisniewski. Check. Launches it into the box. Fulignati able to claim. Johnson trying to split the difference between Wisniewski and Hristov. No nonsense from the pole. Badly done from Vazquez. Buzz around the city of La Spezia all day today. Fan park being organised during the afternoon, and fans accompanying the team coach to the stadium with a flurry of scooters, as is tradition in these parts. All culminating in the crescendo here inside the Peacock. Sets of fans doing their respective cities proud. So little to separate Spezia-Cremonese. Two illustrious names coming into the playoffs. The fancied sides ahead of the likes of Stabia and Catanzaro. Palermo and Cesena falling by the wayside in the preliminary round. Both of these sides with fresh recent memories of life in Serie A, coming down from the top flight in the same season. Cremonese, of course, coming so close to an immediate return to the top flight. Right at exactly this stage last campaign. Zazzi gets the ball in, drops to Vazquez, can't quite connect with the volley. Castagnetti looking to recycle. And with the Brazilian, Van de Poot, first time. Coaches saying they'd have to choose their starting 11s fairly late on. Such has been the quick turnover from Thursday night. Plenty of minutes in the legs over the course of this long and arduous season. Such a battle to emerge from Serie B. Final push for both Spezia and Cremonese. That takes all. Bandinelli made that tremendous block in the first leg, denying Colak on the stroke of half-time, remaining in the starting 11 this evening. That five-man Spezia midfield, accommodating the return of Salvatore Esposito. Cassata, the one sacrificed. Vazquez in an extremely deep position. As we saw in the first leg, happy to drop back into his own defence to try and get the move started. Likes of Vazquez and Castagnetti with crucial experience this evening for Cremonese if they are to achieve their aim. Flag and whistle going in the away side's favour. Losing his footing initially and then pulled down by P.Esposito, according to the referee. Two young talents dueling this evening. 19-year-old P.Esposito up against 23-year-old Foligno, nailing down a place in the first team in this crucial phase of the season, given the injuries to the likes of Ravanelli, Bianchetti and Antov. Bulgarian Antov, who started the first leg, unable to reclaim his position this evening. Only fit enough for the bench alongside Bianchetti. Ceccherini, the man to marshal the back line this evening. Here is Foligno. Barbieri scored a stunning opener here at the Peacock a few weeks ago. Setting the tone for Cremonese that evening. Storming to a 3-goal lead by half-time. Sumptuous volley from the former Pisa man. Cremonese will be hoping to draw on those memories. Still fresh in the mind. Such a daunting task ahead of them this evening. Into the Lions' den. Let's see, back to Castagnetti, first time, fired towards the back post. The last flick perhaps off Giuseppe Aurelio. Leaves it for Barbieri. Vazquez providing an option. Out with Barbieri. Space for the cross. Ceccherini out to Van de Put. Holds off Elia. Azzi in support. Paloazzi! A ripper from the Brazilian. Scored from similar range in the league game here to double Cremonese's lead. That was not a bad effort, stinging the palms of Stefano Gori. Paloazzi then with the first shot in earnest. So dangerous, cutting in off the flank. Very short back lift on the effort. Was creeping into the corner. Needed the intervention from Gori. Fancy and Barbieri, so potent off the wings for the Grigio Rossi. Not much convincing to push forward. 3 goals each over the course of the campaign. Scoring prior to Van der Put's effort here. At the start of May, as Azzi storms forward once again, this time brushed away by Wisniewski. To re-establish some order at the back. Stopping Azzi in his tracks there. Wisniewski, who weighed in with a goal in the semi-finals in the second leg to put Catanzaro to the sword. Spezia winning both of those games to defeat the Calabrians. Bandinelli. Foray down the left. Coming out second best against Colak there. Pokes it out to Van der Put. Looking immediately for De Luca. Gori is rushing out of his box. Taking intervention there from the keeper. No stranger to coming outside of his perimeter. Well timed. Able to keep it in, not committing the foul. Nancy trying to atone for the error. That loose first touch. Former Cagliari man. Settled in nicely this season at Cremonese. It's a risky pass from Mateju, having to be cleaned up by S.Esposito. Here's Pio. Bandinelli able to burst through, trying to thread it into Elia's path. Bristling energy to the contest so far. Wonderful first touch there from Jonsson. Looking to run at Wisniewski. Comes behind De Luca. Vazquez doing well to keep it in. Looking to turn Bandinelli, now Barbieri. Vazquez wins the header. Colak. Jab towards goal by Michele Colak. Came close in the first leg, denied on the line by Bandinelli. Reacting quickest here. Mateju this time with the intervention. Colak able to get the effort away quickly. And it will be a corner. Castagnetti towards the back post. Mateju helps it on his way. Cremonese attacking the Curva Ferrovia, the hotbed of Spezia support in this first half, looking to try and dampen the enthusiasm inside the Peacock. Referee Colombo sorting a few things out before the corner can be taken. Hatzi. Aurelio after the initial header from Wisniewski. Jump forward from Fulignati. Vazquez firmly back in the starting 11 after having served his suspension. 8 games missed for the 36-year-old. Slightly fresher than some of his teammates as a consequence. 36 years on the clock, but a few extra weeks to recover some energy. But that's a loose pass from the Argentine. Esposito out to Elia. Gets his head up quickly. The dummy now, the cross. In comes Bandinelli at the back post. Wants a corner but won't get it. Luca D'Angelo, who came so close to promotion from Serie B back in 2022 with his then Pisa side, denied by Stroppa's Monza. As ever, whirring and buzzing around behind the central striker. His shot flying over on Thursday. Cremonese's best chance of the game. Going to their in-form man. In recent weeks, Johnson has been in fabulous form. Scored in both legs of the semi-final against Juve Stabia. Chipping in with plenty of goals and assists over the course of the campaign, Dennis Johnson. His best return to date in terms of goal contributions. We'll have to add another one here. The most important game of all, and S.Esposito clutching that right foot. Went off injured in the game here between these two back on the 9th of May, making his first start since. Francesco P.Esposito looking to defend his brother, and that's an unnecessary shove on Tommaso Barbieri. It earns the striker a cheap yellow card. No players suspended for this final, thankfully. Barbieri perhaps losing his footing somewhat there and colliding with Salvatore Esposito. Pio didn't like it. A few words in the ear of the midfielder from Barbieri. Audible for Pio. Be careful now on that yellow. Player that wears his heart on his sleeve. Giuseppe Aurelio thought he had scored the opener on Thursday night after the quarter of an hour mark. Ball turned over the line at the second time of asking, but only after the use of a hand to control in the build-up. Ruled out upon VAR review. The closest Spezia came at the Zini. The draw certainly the result that was more satisfactory for Spezia. To return to the Pico in the knowledge that another tie will be enough for them. Luca D'Angelo, however, keen to underline that his side would not be playing for a draw this evening. So that would be the wrong mentality to take into the final. Fulignati out. Ceccherini. Nagy nips in. Serio trying to get between Barbieri and Castagnetti. Keepers starting to crank up a notch or two after that initial clash between Barbieri and Salvatore Esposito. Again involved. Clear push on the back of Tommaso Barbieri. Vazquez again in that deep lying position. Castagnetti having to intervene. bring aside in the absence of regular captain Matteo Bianchetti. Unable to return in time. His injury sustained in the semis. Johnson out to Colak. Played low first time. Aurelio. Tracking back there from Michele Colak. Over the top to De Luca. Gets there before Hristov. De Luca! Cremonese take the lead here at the Pico. And it is Manuel De Luca, the striker, back in the starting 11 and making his impact here. Cremonese, who know that only a win will do this evening, take the lead after 25 minutes. Manuel De Luca, with his 9th of the season, holding off Pekko Hristov and dangling out the leg to guide the ball beyond Stefano Gori. What a ball it was from Franco Vazquez to set up De Luca, who had the strength to keep Hristov at bay and then just towing it past Gori, leaving the keeper fooled. A few strong words between Hristov and Gori after the goal, and the Cremonese bench erupting in joy. De Luca then repaying his coach's faith, having to settle for a spot on the bench in recent weeks, but in from the off in the important game. The deadlock in the tie is broken then. And those away fans are loving it. De Luca goes level with Vazquez as Cremonese's top scorer for the season with that strike. The former Sampdoria man coming back to haunt Ligurians, Spezia. Not telling what that goal proved to be. These are the away fans that you can hear now, singing at the top of their lungs. Helped forward by Aurelio. Esposito. Elia considers taking on Atzi. Has another crack. Still Elia into the box now. Goes to ground. The Brazilian comes away with it. De Luca. Dispossessed by Salvatore Esposito. Certainly a more intense rhythm to the game compared to Thursday night, which was far cagier at this stage of proceedings. Cremonese coming out aggressively and rewarded for their approach. Quick look at the coming together between Elia and Atzi. Confirmation of the onside position of De Luca. Still had a lot to do. Hristov, who wanted his keeper to come and claim, stayed at home this time. Gori. Colak. This is the case in the latter stages of the first leg. Michele Colak playing in a wider position this evening. Plugging the right touchline as Van der Poel picks it up down the left. Anzi into Castagnetti. And to put once more. Too deep this time. Colak trying to keep it alive. Just what Stroppa and Luca would have been dreaming of last night. Well aware that the odds were against them coming into the game. Spezia, the higher placed team at the end of the regular season. And 5 points separating the sides after the first 38 games of Serie B. Cremonese desperate to avoid becoming the first side to lose back-to-back playoff finals. A sole strike from Christian Guichet last season, allowing them a place in Serie. Ciccherini considers the shot, thinks better of it, laid off to Colak. Vazquez whipped into the box, and Atsi was coming into the back post, and then to Luca onto the crossbar. The striker so close to his second. Vazquez again with a fine delivery, a knockdown off the head of Ciccherini. First time De Luca jabbing it onto the bar. Jarring tackle there on Bandinelli. Gets the free kick. Spezia yet to get going this evening. As Ciccherini whips up those away fans. Not that they need too much encouragement. Cremonese, you have to say, have made the brighter start in this opening half an hour of action. Plenty of twists and turns you feel await. Of the highest drama and tension. Slightly wild pass there from Ciccherini. And up an apology. The higher placed side has emerged from every tie so far. From the preliminary round all the way through to the semi-finals. Cremonese looking to buck the trend here. So tight between the pair over the decades in Serie B. This is the 29th matchup. P.Esposito looks to turn it into a dangerous position. Both sides have won 11 times so far. Couldn't be tighter. Esposito taking matters into his own hands there, but unable to find a teammate. Strike from De Luca, perhaps prompting a response here from the Aquiloti. As the momentum swings in the Grigio Rossi's favour. Johnson Barbieri. Fascinating to see here, Vazquez playing almost alongside Ceccherini and Foligno before gradually edging forward. Almost like a quarterback, spraying the passes from deep. Out of play there. The keeper calling on his teammates to be a little more clinical this evening after having seen those chances come and go at the Zini. Manuel De Luca certainly heeding that call. Taking his chance with both hands and close to a second. Minutes later. Card brandished by Colombo, this one for a Cremonese player. Michael Vazquez, the recipient. One card apiece. Edging in on Bandinelli. On the floor to P.Esposito, trying to wrestle away from Barbieri. Colak can't prevent the corner. P.Esposito looking to use his physicality there. Such a robust striker. Barbieri with his hands full, trying to keep Esposito at bay. Trying to keep close tabs on the attacker as the corner's fired in. Over Esposito and comfortable enough for Fulignati. Esposito being marshalled carefully by Cremonese defence. Kept the attacker largely under wraps so far. Scored in the league game here a few weeks back. Cremonese with that 3-goal lead at half-time. Spezia, to their credit, trying to mount the second half comeback. Esposito and Lapadula with goals, but didn't find the equaliser. Nevertheless, able to hold off Cremonese in the battle for third place. Rossi seeing their 10-game unbeaten streak coming to an end on the final day of the regular season, losing out away to promoted side Pisa. Meanwhile, Spezia were able to overcome basement boys Cosenza to seal third spot. Cremonese, who have lost their last two on the road after that defeat against Pisa, going down in the first leg in Castellamare di Stabia. Stabby winning by a couple of goals to 1. Trying to snap that run here this evening. And the win will do. For Stroppa's men as Luca D'Angelo needs to stride around his technical area. To truly threaten Andrea Fulignati in the Cremonese goal. Bandinelli towards the back post, and here's Aurelio. Just as was the case in the first leg, Giuseppe Aurelio darting in and forcing another top save from Fulignati. By far and away Spezia's best effort so far of the half. Giuseppe Aurelio timing his run to perfection to get there first. Unable though to guide his shot into the corner. Let's have another look. Getting in on the blind side of Michele Colocolo. The midfielder bailed out by his keeper. Good reactions from Fulignati. It was straight at the keeper. Nevertheless had to get his hands up smartly. Anywhere else and you feel it would have been the equaliser. A reminder for Cremonese. There's another yellow card. Comes out. This one for Tommaso Barbieri. Across the chest of Bandinelli. As we move into the final 5 minutes of what has been an entertaining and gripping first half. Spezia hoping to get back on level terms before the whistle. Taken short. Elia firing it out to Bandinelli. Battling to try and keep it under control. Castagnetti shepherding it out of play. The 35-year-old using all of his know-how and guile there against the former Empoli man. Vazquez into Castagnetti. Foul against the Cremonese captain. Vazquez getting a blow in the build-up. Chance for Spezia to try and fire one in from deep. Instead, Esposito plays it square. As you can see from the graphic in the top corner, Cremonese, as they did at the Zini, dominating possession. This time they have something to show for it. Johnson acrobatically into Vazquez. Trying to wriggle away from 4. Gets the free kick. Spezia at present seem uncertain as to what to do with Vazquez, whether to follow his retreats all the way back towards his own defence. Luca D'Angelo getting hot under the collar. Lovely flick from Esposito. Bandinelli spots the movement of Aurelio. Esposito trying to move away from De Luca. So far, the difference maker. 26-year-old. His last goal coming on the 25th of April in the win over Mantova. Returning to the score sheet at the right time for those away fans. Vazquez can come away with it. There's Van de Put to his right. For the first time this half, seemingly content to just keep hold of it and to protect their lead, perhaps going into the break. Otherwise, their sole intention seems to have been to move forward as quickly as possible, but they've lost it here. P.Esposito trying to nip in. Elia back into the middle, over the head of Bandinelli. Chance opening up there for D'Angelo's side as we move into just 1 minute of additional time. First half, a few stoppages. Principal one coming after 25 minutes. The only goal of the tie so far scored by Manuel De Luca. Change to the side that began the first leg. Able to swing the balance in Cremonese's favour for now. What will Spezia have in terms of a response going into the second half, and perhaps before then? P.Esposito getting it trapped between his legs. Vazquez, another well-weighted ball. This time to Jonsson, who flops to the ground. He is rightly told by the linesman to get to his feet. Luca this time hitting the deck as Cremonese win it back. Vazquez with De Luca still down. And the ball cannoning off the prone striker. Play will have to stop now. Colombo has had a pretty good game up until now. It was S.Esposito the one to collide with De Luca. Of right smiles exchanged between the pair. So advantage Cremonese at the break. The first goal of the round scored by Manuel De Luca, brought back into the starting 11 by Giovanni Stroppa and Giuli. Cremonese to get things started in this second half, and what a half we surely have in store, at least in terms of drama. An entire season's work condensed into 45 minutes now for both Spezia and Cremonese. Cremonese, who came so agonizingly close last season to a immediate return to Serie A, thwarted by Venezia, looking to avoid the ignominy of being the only side in the history of Serie B to lose back-to-back finals. Last season also drawing the first leg at the Zini, 0-0. Unable to score at the Pinzo. Not the case here. That goal from Manuel De Luca, breaking the deadlock in the tie. Two classic target men being deployed by either side. De Luca for Cremonese and Francesco P.Esposito for Spezia. The teenager, the joint top scorer in Serie B this season, unable to make his mark so far. Playing alongside Giuseppe Di Serio in that two-man attack in what is a preferred 3-5-2 formation, the classic lineup from D'Angelo. Meanwhile, Stroppa moving away from that formation, shuffling the pack and surprising everybody with a 4-3-2-1. It was so fluid in the first half, difficult for Spezia to have points of reference as the likes of Vazquez drop towards his own defence and Colak hugged the touchline. Mateju going down in pain here. Barged in the back by Aurelio. Cremonese, who did an admirable job in that first half of staying cool in this red-hot atmosphere at the Peacock. This was the case on Thursday night at the Zini, a brilliantly electric atmosphere inside this stadium. Home fans coming ready to party, but celebrations being put on ice at present. Incidentally, neither side making any changes during the break. Sticking with the same starting 11s for the resumption. The best chance for Spezia in that first half, falling the way of Giuseppe Aurelio after 40 minutes. Hill with a volley of words in the direction of De Luca. Czech was a tough customer. I'm pleased with perceived theatrics from De Luca. It is nevertheless a free kick to the home side as De Luca returns to his feet. S.Esposito, as ever, in charge of the set piece, not his finest. Easily cleared by Vazquez. Spezia now attacking the Curva Ferrovia in the second half. Cremonese, who dominated possession in the first, can be a difficult side to dispossess once they get into full flow. The likes of Castanet and Vazquez, very assured custodians of the ball. De Luca, after scoring, came close to his second in that first half, rattling the bar for the first time effort. Van de Poet There's runners ahead of him, one of which is De Luca. Back to the Belgian. Lines one up. Curling and dipping from Jari van der Poel. Not quite enough to really trouble Stefano Gori. Jari van der Poel, who has chipped in with 5 goals this season. One of those coming in the 3-2 win for Cremonese here, back on the 9th of May. Playing in with even more assists for the Grigio Rossi. Incredible 14 between the regular season and the playoffs. Wisniewski drags the cross into Serio initially. Unable to do anything with it. De Luca collects. Great first touch, taking it into his stride. Trying to get the better of Mateju. Czech doing enough there, but once again the long ball proving effective from Cremonese. De Luca alert to that opportunity. Top first touch to bring it into his stride. Looking really up for the challenge, Manuel De Luca. So far rising to the occasion. Elia darts in field, trying to get away from Atsi. One touch too many in the end. Vazquez comes away. Johnson, the outlet. Cremonese, numbers forward here. Still Johnson. Left by Ceccherini. De Luca. Trying to hang one up to the back post. Still De Luca. Federico Ceccherini getting all the way forward there. The dummy allowing it to roll into De Luca's path. Cremonese recognising the momentum the striker holds at present. Looking for him on regular occasions now. Loose from Esposito. Clever footwork from Dennis Johnson. Stagnetti to Van der Poel. Just too much on it for De Luca. Intricate build-up. Spezia yet to find that spark. Still looking slightly off the pace compared to their opponents. Serio gives chase. Also a quiet night so far from Giuseppe Di Serio alongside P.Esposito. D'Angelo keeping his faith in Di Serio ahead of the likes of Lapadula and Falcinelli. Veterans on the bench. Hristov can only head into Colak. Captain unable to deal with the threat of Manuel De Luca when it came to the goal. A few strikers overpower the Bulgarian. Captain unhappy that keeper Gori didn't come and claim, but credit has to go to De Luca as well. Took his chance really well. Bandinelli into Di Serio. Tripped by Ceccherini. playing Aurelio. Good intervention from Wisniewski, anticipating the play. Elia with the cross. Serio wide with the header. Good initial play from Wisniewski to win the ball back. Elia's cross wasn't bad. Serio unable to guide it on target. Fulignati doing enough to put the striker off. Spezia seen more of the ball in the last few minutes. Something that will encourage their fans. A fairly subdued first half from the Aquiloti, but starting to rise from their slumber. Now on them to score the next goal. As it stands, it's Cremonese going up to Serie. As Aurelio sends one in, the header once again from Serio. Another run from the attacker across the face. This one slightly further out. It's always going to be difficult to really test Fulignati from there. As the chant goes up from the Curva Ferrovia, enjoying how their side is responding. Looking to get back into the game. As the likes of Lapadula and Vignali go through their warm-up routines. Approaching the hour mark now. Barbieri. It's to push on. Those underlapping runs behind Colak that has on occasion baffled the Spezia defence. On the other side now with Azzi. 3 against the Brazilian. Castagnetti looking to return it to Vazquez, but read by Elia. Serio colliding with the fans after contact with Ceccherini. The striker not receiving any damage. Such a wily operator at the back. Federico Ceccherini, tasked with trying to keep P.Esposito quiet this evening. Proving to be an extremely astute signing from Verona. After a spell in Turkey last season, his presence all the more important given the injuries to the likes of Ravanelli, Bianchetti and Antov. Been an ever-present at the back in the run through the playoffs. Again getting the better of P.Esposito. The free kick there. Atzi into Castagnetti. This is nice first touch passing. Aurelio able to deal with it. Esposito. Nagy. Half an hour remaining for Spezia to try and find a goal. An equaliser would be enough for the Aquiloti. No extra time to be played. Castagnetti protects it and wins the free kick. Part of the side that rose to Serie A for the first time in 26 years. Castagnetti, part of the team that went up under the guidance of Fabio Pecchia in 2022. What a servant he has been to the club. A midfielder now in his 7th campaign. De Luca again gets there first. Once more trying to hold off Hristov. Good recovery from the defender. De Luca proving to be a real lightning rod for the Cremonese attack. Spezia struggling to deal with the threat he's posing. And we will see the first changes. They might have to wait though for the corner to be taken. And Put stands over it. To the middle and over the line. Cremonese double their lead. And it could be a goal that is worth its weight in gold. Jubilation for the Grigiorossi in front of their travelling fans. They are a step away from Serie A now. Foligno perhaps hurting himself in the celebrations, but his unbridled joy for the Grigiorossi. The corner whipped in by Jari van der Put. The initial header from Colak going all the way through, bouncing awkwardly in front of Gori, with Vazquez in front of the keeper. Perhaps the last touch off the Argentine. Indeed, Franco Vazquez with a crucial touch. It is his goal, flicking Colak's header into the back of the net. And Cremonese with their second goal, one in either half. And they now are in a commanding position. Spezia, who had changes waiting in the wings, they enter the fray with the situation a lot trickier now for the Aquiloti. Bandinelli and Nagy off, Kouda and Cassata, the players introduced, with the side now trailing by 2. Cremonese, who had it all to do, coming to the Peacock, knowing that only a win would do. Now with 25 minutes remaining of the playoff final, it is they who are now the favourites to go up. And on the basis of what we've seen so far this evening, it's difficult to say they aren't good value for the 2-goal lead. Stymied Spezia in attack and look more threatening when going for themselves. Vazquez adding to De Luca's first half goal. The away fans overjoyed in the far corner of the stadium. The rest of the Peacock has been silenced. Stunned by that second strike. Vazquez playing with real swagger into Colak. Cremonese trying to kill it with a third. The Giorgeschi have enjoyed their trips to the Pico in recent times, looking for their third win on the spin here. That's a rash challenge from Van der Poel. Into the book. It is Cremonese who have handled the pressure of the big occasion better so far. Spezia caught in the headlights up until now. Hoping to change that trend with the introduction of Kouda and Cassata. Fresh legs in midfield. Castagnetti trying to thread it into De Luca's path. There's been some lovely passing in midfield from the Giorgeschi. They've looked more comfortable in possession. Esposito, Cassata. Get away from Van der Poel, who celebrates the intervention, as does his coach. Further changes for the home side. Gianluca Lapadula set to come on. Off comes Serio. Lapadula, who has 9 goals in playoffs through the years, both for promotion and to avoid relegation. Pescara, Benevento, and most recently with Cagliari. Spezia now turn to the 35-year-old to try and get them back into the contest. This was the case back in May when the sides met here at the Pico. Spezia having to try and overturn a heavy deficit. If there is to be a next goal, you feel it really is critical. Fulignati coming to punch. Kouda able to keep it away from Colak. Hristov does well to navigate a tricky situation. Esposito's radar has been off this evening compared to his normally such high standards. Desperate to come back in time for the closing stages of the season, but perhaps still not quite completely up to speed. Salvatore Esposito after that injury. Aurelio. Esposito trying to return it to his younger brother. Instead it drops to De Luca. Jonsson with teammates streaming forward. Atzi trying to play it first time into Van der Put's path. Cremonese still look hungry for further goals, especially on the break now. Kouda though glides into the space. Lapadula. Mateju. Kouda. Think forward. Esposito, overly physical according to the referee. Frustrating night so far for the young goal getter. To get the better of Fulignati. Cremonese determined to upset the trend of higher place sides progressing, which has been the case throughout all the ties so far in these Serie B playoffs. So far the final standings after the regular season have been respected. Not so far in the biggest game of all as Castagnetti departs alongside Van der Put. What a contribution those two have had. Replaced by Charles Piquel. Franco Gelli, who entered in the first half at the Zini for Castagnetti. Piquel once again looking to bring the energy. Combative midfielder. Luca wins his header. Fouling Hristov in the process. Hristov, who finished the semi-final with Catanzaro with some serious head strapping. Taking another blow from De Luca. Kouda. Keep it away from Colak. Layoff for Kouda. Now Elia has Cassata ahead of him, trying to overcome Gelli. Cross going out before coming back in. Spezia perhaps needing some divine intervention now, with only quarter of an hour remaining. The advantage coming into the second leg, knowing that another draw would be enough for them. D'Angelo side so far, though, too passive. Cremonese have played with far more bite. And attacking intent. Still looking for more. Zanzi tries to take it early. floats it towards the Brazilian. Another magnificent shot that we've been privy to this evening, capturing the contrasting emotions there. Boisterous away support and the stunned home fans here. One goal though for Spezia now, and it could set us up for a barnstorming finale. Wisniewski finds Esposito. Salvatore. Will make it to Kouda, but Foligno too strong. Miguel out to Vazquez. The Argentine still going strong. 76 minutes deep into the game. Wins the free kick. Now with the armband after Castagnetti's substitution. Vignali and Reca prepared to come on for Spezia. Vazquez leaving it all out on the pitch. Bleach blonde Reca, from his recent injury problems, on for Elia. Mateju also sacrificed. Luca Vignali, local lad, coming on for the remainder. Luca D'Angelo with a few words of encouragement. To find a spark from somewhere. He prepares to come on for Cremonese in a few moments' time. Now play continues. It's immediately involved. Kouda with another heavy first touch. Vazquez! Gori with the quick release. Foligno well positioned. Nagy finds the return from Jonsson, brilliantly done. Nagy past Hristov, still Nagy, bouncing in the box and converted. Cremonese now are surely going up. Manuel De Luca with his second and Cremonese's third. The Grigio-Rossi soaring to Serie A in style. Delirium in that away end. The Grigio-Rossi have come to La Spezia and done a job. Emotion high amongst the players and fans. They know now that they are within touching distance of the promised land. Brilliantly done by Dennis Jonsson. That flick, keeping it in play and releasing Nagy, soaring past Hristov and leaving Vignali in his wake. Gori with the initial save, but Aurelio getting in a muddle. And Manuel De Luca on hand to punish the mistake. Cremonese leading Spezia now by 3-0, as they did in this fixture a few weeks ago. And surely no way back for Spezia now. Vazquez goes off to a hero's departure, embraced by his coach. Velotti on for the final 10 minutes. that goal, De Luca hits double figures for the season. And puts the dagger into the Aquiloti. Aquiloti immediately booked as Flair is thrown onto the field. Hristov desperate to get on with things and takes matters into his own hands. A stunning performance this evening from Cremonese as attracts the ire of the Curva Ferrovia. Despair seemingly once again for Luca D'Angelo, beaten by Stroppa in the playoff final in 2022. It looks as if his old friend is getting another one up on him here. A game that has been well refereed by Colombo. Threatening to get a bit spiky here. Stroppa minutes away from further celebrations. A stunning performance from the Grigio Rossi. The first whistle looked all set for the challenge, undeterred by the goalless draw on their own patch a few days ago. Didn't dwell on those missed chances at the Zini. De Luca back into the starting 11, and boy has he stepped up. Esposito into the middle. P.Esposito gets one back for Spezia. Is there life left in this game after all? P.Esposito helps himself to his 19th of the season. And just like a few weeks ago, it is the young striker that gets the first one back for the Aquiloti. Only 6 minutes remaining, but perhaps Spezia have the thinnest of lifelines. Lovely dummy to send Folino to the turf, and then coolly smashed past Fulignati. Spezia, who look down and out, have they given themselves an ounce of hope here? Reca receives from Kouda. Added urgency now to the home side. Here's the goal scorer into Kouda. Another one now, and the roof would lift off the Pico. Vignali! There's the second for Spezia. Goals in back-to-back minutes for the Aquiloti. And the Pico is bouncing. Luca D'Angelo keeping his calm, but perhaps the only person inside the stadium to do so. Out of nowhere, the home side are right back in this game. Lapadula with the decoy, and Vignali with the wherewithal to guide it into the bottom corner. Cremonese, who look to have the tie wrapped up, it is now firmly back in the balance. Vignali, the substitute, keeping his cool to get his head over the ball and send it into that bottom corner. 2 goals in as many minutes for Spezia, and we will have our grandstand finale here. One more for Luca D'Angelo's men, and they will be remarkably the side to go up. Hold on to your hats for the remainder. Spezia prepare an all-out assault on that Cremonese goal. Back from the dead. Nerves fraying and shredding all over the place. Jelly colliding with Ceccarini there. A whistle blown nevertheless. Stroppa perhaps slightly more anxious now. Pico rediscovers its voice. Their side back off the canvas. It's perhaps Cremonese who will be feeling some late nerves. The atmosphere whipped up a notch or two after those strikes from P.Esposito and Luca Vignali. Spezia now surely to throw everything they have at the Grigio Rossi. Entire season boiling down to a couple of minutes. That's a rash tackle from Valotti, who's already been booked. Sliding down Cassata. Esposito stands over the free kick. Curva Ferrovia, willing this ball to go in. Dennis Jonsson, the one-man wall for the away side. Esposito towards the back post. Kouda collects the dummy, past Piquel into the middle. Paulino looks to the referee, hoping for a whistle, but it will be a Spezia throw. To the final minute and a half of the 90. A wicked ball it was from Salvatore Esposito. Hristov trying to fire it back in. We'll probably have a fair chunk of injury time to be added on, considering all the goals and stoppages in this second half. Another free kick for the home side. Believing once again. This one more central. Esposito pings it towards the far post, but within grasping distance of Fulignati. Keeper grateful for it. Falcinelli nibbling on the nails. As the tension grows. What a conclusion we are witnessing here through the Serie B playoffs. Dummy from Esposito. Cassata back to Salvatore Esposito. the cutback. Snuffed out this time by Cremonese. 5 minutes then. Is the amount to be added on. Spezia parked in Cremonese's half now. Reca fires it towards the centre spot. Again, Fulignati, grateful to leap on top of the ball. Momentum shift has been remarkable in the last few minutes. Spezia, who looked completely bereft after that third goal went in from Cremonese. Rejuvenated. Cassata has his pocket picked by Dennis Jonsson. Didn't get the call from his teammates. Challenge on the Norwegian for good measure. Captain Bianchetti, as well as striker Nasty, set to be thrown on by Stroppa to try and wind down the clock. High tension here at the Peacock. De Luca off for Nasty. So far, Luca's second strike proving decisive. Bianchetti on for Barbieri. The other of the two changes. Barbieri sent on to another bolt to the door at the back. Captain trying to seal the deal for the Grigiorossi. He couldn't have done much more to aid the cause. Will there be one final twist in the tail here? It is a free kick. Seemingly for Spezia. Charles Piquel. Down for Cremonese, along with a number of players. Valotti also going to ground. Again, getting a little tetchy, a few shoves back and forth. Colino managed to get to his feet by Esposito. As we tick into the final minute of stoppage time, a red card in the meantime. Seemingly towards one of the benches. Andrea Colombo summoned to take a look at the pitchside monitor. All eyes on the referee. Vignali initially in contact with Foligno, and it seems to be a red card for Luca Vignali. Indeed, he takes his exit. An unedifying conclusion to the season for Luca Vignali. Brought on late by D'Angelo scored the second and now given his marching orders. A player who tends to play on the edge, overstepping it this time. Does he take Spezia's chances with him? How much time will referee Colombo add on? Foligno also off the pitch at present, so the sides down to 10 each. Challenges flying in. Another card is produced. This one for Dennis Jonsson. So Spezia perhaps with the final opportunity, the last roll of the dice. Wisniewski will have to go long. It drops to Kouda. Cassata. Wisniewski again flights it forward. Cremonese continue to resist. No foul on Jonsson. Here come Cremonese though. Paloazzi stealing it, going one-on-one. Looks for support. Nasty. Cassata with the interception. Paloazzi there with a chance to kill it once and for all for Cremonese. Jonsson wins it back. A tug on Jelly and a yellow for Reca. A mad finish to proceedings here at the Peacock. Frantic stuff. Sides desperately trying to achieve their aim. Here's time up for the Aquilotti. Azzi assesses the options. Still Paloazzi, force wide. Still on the ball, the Brazilian. Trying to take it to the corner.
Техническое мастерство позволяет мяч удержать. Все-таки упускает он за пределы поля. Но, по мнению арбитра, все-таки от ноги на футболиста Специи мяч покинул пределы поля. Здесь, конечно, не планирует подавать этот угловой футболист из Кремонезе. И красная карточка для Марко Насти. В равных составах будут заканчивать эту встречу команды. Одному Коломбо известно, когда прозвучит финальный свисток. И все, звучит финальный свисток, валятся на газон футболисты Специи, им выбегают, летят на него игроки Кремонезе и тренерский штаб, и все. Кремонезе последним выходит, возвращается в серию А вместе с Сасуоло и Пизой. Они не вляпались в историю, они в нее вошли. Во второй год подряд, добравшись до финала, они не наступили на те же грабли, как это было в прошлом году. 0-0 с Венецией, но здесь им потребовалось забить 3 мяча в ворота Специи на Альберто Пикко, пропустить 2 в свои, но все-таки выстоять. Мануэль де Лука. Его дубль предопределил результат этой встречи. Браво, 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 Кремонезе. Ух, что это был за футбол. Никаких сил, никаких эмоций уже не осталось. Голоса практически тоже нет. Это блистательная была игра. Это настоящий финал. Это суперфинал. И грандиозная победа команды Giovanni Строппы. Кремонезе ликует сегодня. Сделал все, что мог Франческо P.Esposito. Он наколотил 19 мячей в нынешнем сезоне с учетом плей-офф. Но этого оказалось мало. Дальше идут футболисты Кремонезе, закончившие турнир на 4-м месте, но в очном противостоянии переигравшие Специю. Еще и проиграв в первом матче в полуфинале Стаби, они все-таки забили 3 в ответной игре на своем поле и 3 забили в финале ответном финальном матче. 3 мяча в ворота Специи. И Giovanni Stroppa отправляется в полет. И качают тренера счастливые футболисты Кремонезе. И праздник в Ломбардии. Скрипачи возвращаются в серию А. Грандиозный успех Giovanni Строппы и Кремонезе. Строппа только в ноябре возглавил Кремонезе. Неудачно начинается сезон для кремонцев. Но все-таки Гриджо-Росси просто красиво закончили его на 4-м месте. Но и в великолепном стиле прошлись по плей-офф. И оставив неудел фаворита этого финала Специю. Специя. Орлята еще полетают в серии Б. Слезы на глазах футболистов Специи. Бьянконери были хороши. Бьянконери были прекрасны, но Гриджо-Росси сегодня лучше. Ровно на 1 забитый гол. И Giovanni Stroppa абсолютно счастлив. Поет вместе с фанатской трибуной. Забитой до отказа. Мы в серии А. Мы в серии А. Конечно же, поют кремонцы и их болельщики. Джанлука Лападула сегодня без забитых мячей. За 3 разных клуба забивал плей-офф и плей-аут. 9 мячей на его счету, но сегодня он не забил, и Специя повергнута. Великолепный матч. И удивительная развязка потрясающего сезона итальянской серии Б. Спасибо, что были этим вечером вместе с нами. Меня зовут Стас Редикульцев. Там Пикель шорты дарит болельщикам в одном нижнем белье и спортом остается Шарль Пикель. Но тут, конечно, уже вечеринка для взрослых начинается. Но вместе с вами за этой сумасшедшей игрой, за этим безумным финалом наблюдал я. Меня зовут Стас Редикульцев. Спасибо, что были с нами. Смотрите, не пропустите. Если пропустили, то немедленно отыгрывайтесь и побеждайте. Берегите себя и будьте счастливы. Все, пока. Пока.